judgment has been passed on Old North St. Louis, a judgment not in favor of the historic location. It is often described as a poor and dangerous area, particularly by people who have never stepped foot in the city itself, and draw their conclusions from the local media's emphasis on its more negative aspects. Is the image displayed one that is truly representational, or is it in fact a distorted version that has been brought into focus? We start our journey into Old North St. Louis at the same destination that any newcomer to the area might find as their starting point, the Greyhound bus station. Located in the former headquarters for Cass Bank, the station is a hub of activity for the community. Venturing out of the building onto Cass Avenue, an initial glance may lead a visitor to assume that the familiar stories of decay and urban blight are an accurate summation of the city's present state. Yet the old proverb about a book and its cover has a fitting illustration in this seldom understood city, and in those who call it home. Many buildings and factories in the area that once provided jobs and housing are now abandoned and derelict properties. It's a vivid reminder of the challenges that have faced the city since the mass exodus of homeowners into ever-sprawling suburbs, a phenomenon that has been a fact of American urban life since the 1960s. Any native of Old North St. Louis will tell you that the neighborhood has changed the most drastically in these last few years.
All this used to be a place in North St. Louis where they used to employ the people that stayed in the neighborhood. And when these businesses shut down and moved, it took a lot of jobs on them. When I grew up down here in North St. Louis, I mean, a lot of the big businesses were located down in the inner city. You know, now with the way things are now, big businesses are moving out of the city, and it's, you know, we got a lot of vacant buildings, condemned buildings and housing. And it's kind of rough for the working man, you know, but you still got to do what you got to do.
Yet it isn't all bad news. A huge renovation project has been underway in the past decade, transforming parts of the neighborhood landscape with clusters of fashionable townhomes that seem to sprout up overnight. With all these extensive changes, however, the city hasn't lost sight of its historic past. No one knows this better than the Old North St. Louis Restoration Group. A pillar of hope for a struggling community, the group was founded by and is mostly comprised of long-time residents and rehabbers. They have stood at the forefront of the city's revival while preserving the area's historic charm. While many developers have been putting up expensive loft apartments and homes far beyond the average income of most of the city's residents, the Old North St. Louis Restoration Group has taken a more community-minded approach, helping to rebuild homes and apartments while maintaining rents that are within reach of the average working-class family. Their projects have always placed the community's history on an equal footing with its financial opportunities. Take this building, for example. What appears to be another anonymous crumbling shell of brickwork is in fact what remains of a building that during the 19th and early 20th century helped thousands of immigrants adjust to their new lives as American citizens. Constructed in 1867, the Melanthe Immigrant Home served as a temporary shelter and support service for immigrants coming from all across the globe. Though it was closed 10 years later due to lack of funding, the historic building has undergone other incarnations, serving as a schoolhouse and later a manufacturing company. Today unoccupied, the historic Old North St. Louis landmark is in the process of being fully restored to its former 19th century glory. A few blocks from the Melanthe Immigrant Home sits the 14th Street Business District. The Mark's Hardware Store has been a kind of anchor for the survival of local businesses in Old North St. Louis. In fact, it's been here for over 100 years, having first opened its doors in 1875. While larger home care behemoths have taken increasingly large bites of the market, the little corner hardware store has managed to keep afloat by offering the kind of friendly atmosphere and one-on-one service that its corporate counterparts seldom have the time for. Just a few minutes west from Mark's Hardware sits an equally important fixture of Old North St. Louis. Since 1913, Crown Candy Kitchen has been offering its diverse customers some of the area's tastiest treats. Founded by Macedonian immigrant Harry Karanjev, the mom-and-pop establishment has stayed true to its homegrown roots. Utilizing his expert Greek-style confectionery skills to outshine competing ice cream parlors in a once-booming market, Karanjev's little candy store has stood the test of time, even in an age that seems to prefer speed over service. Like the soda that spouts from its old-time fountains, Crown Candy maintains a leisurely, casual pace, an oasis of nostalgic cheer in the midst of the city's hustle and bustle. Yet life in the city isn't all saltwater taffy and root beer floats. After indulging in an afternoon's refreshment, we must return to more serious matters. The grown-ups make their way back to work, and the neighborhood children are called back from recess. The schoolyards of America owe much to an innovation in children's learning that first appeared here in North St. Louis. In an attempt to sculpt young minds as early as possible, the Ames School was established in 1892, the first school in the history of the U.S. to add kindergarten to its curriculum. Kindergarten, a concept brought from the old country by German immigrant teachers, has now become an American institution. Today, the school continues its proud tradition as a magnet program for students of the visual and performing arts. With a spirit that pays respect to both tradition and modernization, the community is quickly becoming a focal point for the transformation of the greater city. Still, there are many who fail to see the area's potential. Hunting for images of Old North St. Louis on the internet will yield dozens of photos that invoke despair, poverty, and crime, showing a neighborhood that has lost its property values as well as its sense of direction. They say pictures are worth 1,000 words, but in the case of Old North St. Louis, 1,000 words don't seem to be enough.